Also, trying to be anything apart from who you actually are is fucking exhausting. It's unsustainable and it muddies the waters so that you're actually hiding from perfect fit clients and you're delaying your inevitable success. Welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast show. This is a space where truth talking gets real, behind the scenes grit of the future humans is laid bare, and we are celebrating and sharing the real raw stories of change agents, neurosparkly people, the witchy wild women, the deep feelers, the unapologetic sensors, the status quo challengers, and the huge-hearted healers and helpers. And guiding you through this wild ride of entrepreneurship and full heart-led contribution to the world is me, your host, Kylie Patchett, aka KP. I am a proudly neurosparkly, natural-born status quo challenger, and I thrive on helping disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries find their voices, amplify their message into the world, and harness their raw potential, alchemize it into unleashing your full potency. Not only will I be sharing the behind the scenes of some of the most amazing, most status quo challenging thought leaders, I'll also be lifting the veil behind my own business. In 2024, I 18x'd my monthly income. Still blows my mind to say that. And this year I am leaning into how joyful and fun it would be to shift from 6 figures to 7 figures in a quantum shifting year. All through leading from my full unapologetic voice, my unleashed potency, and with my big, wildly lit up heart leading the way every single step of the way. So together with my guests, I am going to be sharing the mess and the magic, spilling the tea on the identity shifts behind stepping into thought leadership, breaking the ties that bind us, unlearning old patterns, and reweaving brand new ways of living, loving, learning, and leading. We're here to break boundaries, reimagine what's possible, all while collapsing timelines and leading with joy, love, and our fiercest wild woman selves. This is not just a podcast. It is a rebellion. It is a revolution. It is an invitation to join the Mad Hatters collective movement. And by Mad Hatters, I mean all the colourful, creative, gorgeous, world-changing, out-of-the-box humans out there. If you've ever longed to be wild and finally fucking free, this is your sign to lean in. Let's get started. Hello, my loves. It is time for a solo episode. This season, I'm going to be sharing many, many more solos because I have a mad desire to expose the simplicity of using storytelling to actually grow a soulful, sustainable business. And I know that I might be triggering you if you're hearing simplicity and you're like, it is not that freaking simple. And probably the reason why you don't think it is simple to grow a soulful, sustainable business is there is so many people in the coaching industry, particularly, that are benefiting from teaching you that you don't have the answers, that it's way more complicated than it needs to be, and that there's some magic pill that only they can actually share with you. And I've just been writing posts all day and far out, man. I'm fired up. I feel like I'm raging against the machine at the moment. And the reason why I'm raging is because I am seeing a proliferation of huge-hearted, contribution-led entrepreneurs, people who I call paradigm shifters. So the healers, the helpers, the guides, the mentors, the catalysts, the activators, who actually are not sharing their genius zone to the fullest of what they could be. And then on the flip side, I'm seeing a proliferation of, and I'm using air quotes very, very hard and very, very loud. If you could see me on video, you would know, air quotes, 8-figure coaches who are selling grossly overinflated, and I'm using air quotes again, value offers that actually sometimes when you get into them are lacking in substance. They're all hype and no heart. They're all sales, 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 no substance. They're all love bombing to get the sale. And then there's no real care and ethics underpinning them. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that identifies as an 8-figure coach is being tarred with this brush. However, I will tell you that back in 2017, when I left my first iteration of my coaching business, yes, if I tell the whole story, there was reasons on the surface that made it a very good idea, i.e. someone in my family had had a serious accident and I was extremely busy trying to keep my own family and my own self, but my own family, calm and as grounded and centered as possible as we navigated something that was really, really, really fucking painful and tricky and difficult and intense. But the full and unadulterated truth is that my entire business model was centered on me doing the work, me meeting the clients, me holding space for the community. And whilst I was making multiple 6 figures, all I recreated was more of the same old patterning of working hard to make the money, and it was taking a massive toll on me as a human being. And if I'm like crystal clear, like telling my truthiest truth and being as honest as I possibly can, I would also tell you, and it's something that I haven't wanted to admit this publicly, but I just wrote a post about it and I was like, you know what? We need to be having these conversations because it is bullshit when people are not being honest with how they are actually holding space for people in the coaching industry. So my truthiest truth is that I would have to say that in hindsight, I can see a shit ton of codependency and like put on my hero cape and be a martyr and jump in and try and fix my clients patterns that were running the show. I was not fully aware of my own trauma response. I did not understand that I was locked in codependency patterns. I didn't understand how that was impacting how I showed up for my clients and myself. And I certainly didn't understand that because I was still bought into the notion that like pieces of paper, when you get a coaching modality or a coaching certification, somehow automatically bestowed some sort of expertise. And like, I'm all for going and learning something in a formal environment. I'm never going to diss that. But I will also say that it does not bestow expertise. It is your lived experience as a human, what you bring to coaching, the quality of how many hours you have spent mastering your craft. And here's something else that I really don't want to admit. It was actually more of the same shit that is playing out in the world, particularly politically in the States, for all of us to see and to actually come to conscious awareness of the pain that these systems cause. If I'm really honest with you, will now admit that I knew in my heart of hearts at the time that I was just another cog playing her part in just another system of oppression, just another system that says you're wrong and need fixing, including myself. This is not just how I looked outwardly at clients, but how I saw myself. Another system that had us convinced, me, my clients, everybody, that the answers were outside of us. Another system that said, I am the expert and you need my help. And most horrifically, for me to actually come to radical self-responsibility about is just another part of the system where it says, here is a solution, now hand me your cash. I was absolutely bloody sick of seeing the hype over heart, sales over substance, like pedestalizing, if that is even a word, I'm not even sure if it's a word, and pontificating the bullshit that was going on in the coaching industry all around me. I was ashamed to call myself a coach, and I still carry that shame. That is why I don't call myself a coach, even though I am a certified coach in multiple different modalities of coaching. So you might be asking, well, why the fuck are you back, Kylie? And honestly, in this is like truth talking episode. I entitled it, I don't really want to tell you this, but this feels like lancing a boil a little bit. Honestly, especially lately, and I don't want to go into too much detail because I feel like I'm still quite charged in relation to this particular thing, but something happened where I let the hype over heart infect me, and I made a really bad business decision. One that I deeply regret, one that I have to take responsibility for my part in, one that I've been processing for weeks, and that's part of the reason why I've been so quiet on social media, because I've been licking my wounds. So honestly, lately I have been asking myself, why the fuck am I back? Do I really want to be anywhere near an industry that proliferates systems of oppression? And here's what I've come to be like clear and feels like the truth. To begin with, I came back because I could no longer pretend that the corporate cage was for me. I desperately needed time freedom, and I really needed the space to do a lot of healing and trauma healing work. I needed space to take radical responsibility for cleaning up my life in terms of a lot of the self-abandonment patterns I had. I was at the stage in my corporate career where I was driving to work every morning, bawling my eyes out. And I actually did say at one stage to my husband, I did actually think what it would feel like to just accidentally have an accident. And I'm sorry if that activates anyone. I probably should put a warning at the beginning of this episode. But honestly, that's how out of myself I was. How lacking in grounding and how lacking in care and love for myself. And more than that, I was so tired in the corporate cage of being defined by my label, my piece of paper, the productivity I could pump out. I was tired of playing the game of like towing the party line, no matter how out of alignment it was for me personally. And I was really, really craving creative freedom. I was ready to allow my internal wise woman to lead the show. And very quickly, that wise woman told me storytelling and my background in marketing communications was the path to my business. And my business has grown naturally as a result. And yet still, I was holding myself back. I was so afraid of being tarred or put in the same bucket as all the people that identify as coach that I kept my intuitive, spiritual self-awareness, unleashing magic under wraps. And I was desperately trying to stay firmly in strategy land. I did not want to cross into coaching in any stretch of the imagination. And then if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know that I ended up working with a beautiful, soulful, visionary coach, and I was forced to admit through her beautiful questioning that strategy wasn't enough. And rather than hiding my gifts and sticking my fingers in my ears and blinders over my eyes, pretending that damage was not being done in this industry, that I would get to fucking work building a new paradigm where business can nourish both me, both us, everyone out there listening, and our clients, where success does not mean sacrificing your scruples or your sanity, and where capitalist, hierarchical, extractive damage is replaced by heart, empowerment, and true care. Not just the surface, the shiny surface of the love bombing and the care in inverted commas that is like lip service at the moment in the coaching industry by a lot of people. And I'm not saying like, please don't get me wrong. If you're a coach and you're listening to this, and you, similar to me, are led by contribution, by making an impact, by rippling a positive change out into the world, and you're not identifying with anything that I'm saying, then obviously I'm not talking about you. But I also know that every single one of you listening will have made a bad business decision like I just did because, and this is particularly for you guys, like, shout out to all the neurosparkly peeps that I feel like, particularly for people that are on the autism spectrum, we don't tend to be people that can lie about anything. Like, we are literal people. If you say you have 8 calls, that's what I expect. If you say you're going to be here at 3:00 on Tuesday afternoon, that's what I expect. And that's how I communicate as well. And so I fail, and I notice in other people I know who are also autistic that we fail to see duplicity. We fail to read misrepresentation or lies as readily as other people. And again, huge broad brushstroke and huge stereotypical generalization. But I just want to say to you, if that is you, if you have been impacted by a coach that you perceive, is further along in the journey as you, telling you that you don't have the answers inside of you and you need to spend money with them to get the magic pill solution, and there's something wrong with you if you won't take the next step. That's the current favorite fucking gaslighting I'm seeing at the moment. Oh, it's the client that's the problem. And automatically you're labeled as a hater if you call to question anything that happens in a community that is based on pedestaling. Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. Pedestalizing, I don't know whether that's a word, or pontificating from a hyped up, substanceless pulpit. That is a tongue tie. Anyway, the reason why I'm going into all of this is that I really, really want to bring to the surface that If you've been impacted by what I will kind of broad brushstroke say is the bullshit end of the coaching industry, like me, I want to give you a clear invitation, because you might see that and go, oh my God, I don't want to be part of this. And that's exactly what I felt, years ago, back in 2017. And I don't know whether it's because I've crossed into this new unfuckwithable 50s era. I just turned 50 a couple of months ago, just over a month ago. Or it's because I'm older and wiser and I see the patterns a little bit now, kind of, I don't know, being able to sort of zoom out across many, many years of watching the coaching industry. But the invitation is there for us who are the give a fuck people who work with guiding, mentoring, coaching, although, I don't love that word, because even by definition, coaching is anyway, it's very hierarchical. But I want to talk to you. If you are someone who identifies as being sucked into some of that messaging, you may also be someone who I look at and go, you are ignoring your genius zone. You're ignoring your natural talents. You are ignoring what you bring to the table because you are too busy comparing yourself to the other person's hyped up reality, in inverted commas, that you see on social media. And you're actually operating from this kind of less than paradigm. And I'm like, dude, we need to get you out of your own way. Because the truth is, your clients don't give a flying rat's buttock what your put your best foot forward self has to say. They care about what yourself that is on your knees at 3 a.m. with despair or delight self has to say. So if you're only sharing the good stuff and you're creating anything that doesn't feel enough, you're missing a chance to be real and raw and magnetic to your ideal clients and collaborators. If you're scared to be vulnerable, sharing a mere thimble of that beautiful ocean of your heart and truth, you're also missing a real raw chance to be seen, heard, and recognized by soulmate clients and collaborators. If you're filtering out your true opinions in an attempt to be palatable to all or not rock the boat, you're also missing a real raw chance to be seen, heard, and recognized. If you're muzzling your rage, like I have been, minimizing your deep joy, normalizing the safe emotions, but not your extremes, you're also missing a real raw chance to be seen, heard, and recognized by soulmate clients and collaborators. If you're creating quantity content just to feed the algorithm, or if you're writing content that you have zero emotional response to and it leaves you feeling meh, or if you're only communicating from the chin up with those very safe facts and figures and features that have no chance of communicating the realness of the transformation and value you have to offer, you are also missing a real raw chance to be seen and heard and recognized by soulmate clients and collaborators. If you're showing up in any way that your besties or your husband or your family or your partner, the people closest to you would be like, what the fuck is going on there? That's not her. You're missing a real raw chance to be seen, heard, and recognized by soulmate clients and collaborators. The soulmate clients and collabs that you are currently craving do not care for your unreachable perfection, your unattainable brilliance, or your inhuman togetherness. They want to see themselves in you. They want to relate to you and your big, bold heart and desires and ideals. They want to feel seen and heard in the realness and rawness and honest mess and magic. So, magnetic will stop you overcomplicating it, because the truth is the magic is you, the message is you, the niche is you, the answer is you, the magnetism is you. Not just the good bits, not just the coping okay bits, not just the curated parts, not just the censored success, your real raw delight, your real raw despair, your real raw quirks, your real raw mistakes, your real raw, messy, flawed, imperfectly perfect human self. Because Any other way is a charade, a farce, a half-truth. It means that we are part of the systems of oppression that are bullshitting people. And I know that you want better than that. Also, trying to be anything apart from who you actually are is fucking exhausting. It's unsustainable and it muddies the waters so that you're actually hiding from perfect fit clients and you're delaying your inevitable success. The good news is Magnetic will teach you the very, very basics of the art of storytelling. And storytelling is a simple way to swap all of this polishing, pretending, curating, half-truthing, proliferating systems of oppression, totally unsustainable clusterfuckery, and putting in its place instead an easy way for you to be able to share the real raw magic and mess of the most unapologetic and clear version of you and your work. And that means that you will be left to be able to be effortlessly and irresistibly magnetic to the soulmate clients and collaborations you crave, and to align to your most nourishing, satisfying, and abundant, impactful timeline of your business success. I'm going to put the link in down below and you can sign up for Magnetic. She comes out for completely free. You get instant access as soon as it drops on March 17. And so that I am not creating more half-truth or bullshit proliferation, to be clear, this free event is the lead up to my much bigger and more robust and much more detailed and magical storytelling course, which will be a longer offering. But whether you choose to share in that experience or not, you will walk away with the foundations of storytelling from Magnetic. So I hope you'll join us, because I can rage all I freaking want. But the truth is that raging against the machine is just wasting our energy, and actually building new paradigms is what we're here for. So healers, helpers, paradigm shifters, way showers, people who give a fuck about the humans that they actually want to help and serve and hold space for, I am going to give you a little checklist here. I was talking to a client the other day and she said, I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I really don't love my current clients. And that started this delicious, honest, radical, self-responsible and self-honest conversation with her. And I wanted to kind of diagnose what was going on. So was there some mismatch in messaging? Was there some old way of speaking that was somehow letting non-ideal clients come in through the door? Was it a process problem? Was it a sales problem? Was it like a lack of confidence problem? And so as we were diagnosing this, I was like, I need to talk about this on the podcast, because if you have a current reality in your business where you are with non-ideal clients, here's what could be happening. Number one, you're not clear on who you really want to work with. So your vanilla copy puts up the bat signal to all sorts of people, even the ones that don't fit. Now, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but if you're new around here, I love storytelling, because to me, storytelling is a super easy skill set to remember, because we've all been doing it for our entire lives. It's the way that our brain lights up in recognition, engagement, relating to another human. If I tell you a story and I say, this morning when I got out of bed, the wind was wild because we have a cyclone on off the coast of Australia at the moment. And I opened the door of my office and the wind was so strong that my entire altar just inside the door got swept off and a candle or candle holder shattered on the floor. Now, I just gave you a story. I said, I woke up, it's windy. I gave you the reference point of a cyclone, which for some of you will be a hurricane or a typhoon, depending on where you live in the world. And I gave you something with a few senses. I opened the door. You're probably imagining opening a door. And I've given you something to anchor into, which is altar got swept away. That's how wild the wind is. So all of you out there listening, are either making a picture or having a physical, imagined story happening for you, which is far more engaging and relatable. And I know that's just a silly little example than me saying, this morning it was windy. Like, that's factual, right? And this is what I see in sales copy and content all the time. You need to do A, B, and C. You have not even piqued my interest. You're telling me facts. You're giving me features. I'm bored, especially if I'm neurosparkly. My attention is 6 squirrels away by now. Whereas if you're telling me a story, I'm like, oh, tell me more. Yep, I can see myself there. And you've got my attention. So you may not be clear with who you're really wanting to work with. So you've got blah, 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 vanilla copy. And that often allows, what's the right way of saying this? Non-ideal. I was going to say in-ideal, but that doesn't sound right. Or you're clear on who you want to work with, but you're too scared to step into the next evolution of your work. So you're doing what I call is just because you can doesn't mean you should work. So you're working with clients that you always have done or that feel safe, that don't feel like they're stretching you outside of your known comfort zone, and there's no challenge there. And what happens with that is, again, you can have fear driving the show. So you're going to say yes to non-ideal clients, and therefore your energy is reverberating at that. You're more than likely sharing on your social media or in your newsletter stuff that relates to the existing clients that are no longer a good fit because you're scared to bajinkers to step up and say, actually, I only want to work with these people. Now, I will say that there is no, like when I say hierarchy in the coaching world, there's no hierarchy that exists when we are inside of our scope and our expertise and our ability as a coach or guide or a mentor or however you identify yourself. If you're stepping into next evolution people that you know you can work with, I always like to be very honest with clients. So if I've only ever worked with, say, new people in business, and I want to actually step into working with people who have been in business, say, 4 or 5 years, they've got an existing product suite, but actually they're now up to editing because they want to refresh and step into a new evolution. I will say that to them. I will say, my usual genius zone is working with people at the beginning of their business, but what I'm noticing is that I'm called to bring in this extra skill set that I have for editing. So for actually guiding you to your own answers about what feels like a fuck yes offer suite and what feels like a oh shit no type of thing. So there's no shame in stepping into that. That is not the type of hierarchy I mean. The hierarchy I mean that I hate in the coaching industry is saying, I'm the coach, therefore I have the answers and you do not. Therefore I have the power and you do not. Therefore, if you question me, you are somehow a hater and you have no ability to choose or express your needs, wants, and desires. That could be happening if you're letting unideal or inideal, non-ideal clients in, is that you're too busy laboring over what to say that you're actually saying nothing at all. And in that vacuum you're creating, you're letting anyone in, often because you need the cash flow, because you haven't been powerfully calling in the people that you want. Again, no shame on this. This is just a self-reflection, like self-honesty exercise. Or possibly you're trying so hard to follow some magic formula that is like a business model or a sales script or how to get, turn up on social media, that when you're sharing your gift, you feel so out of alignment that you would rather stick a fork in your eye or get a root canal than write copy and content. And that's when procrastination, resistance comes out to play. That's actually, in all honesty, where I've actually been, because I have really, really gone through a massive period of doubting myself because I got sucked into something that I thought I was smart enough to sniff out a mile away. And I've gone through a full month of just going, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm glad to say that I've come back to a natural center. But that's where I've been. I haven't been communicating at all because I'm like, I don't want to write about this because I'm not even sure I want to be part of this industry. So what you're hearing is me kind of verbally processing that. After I've actually come to some place of neutrality, because I can tell you what, if I was recording this when it first happened, I would have been probably shouting in your ear. So we have come a long way. Something else that can be happening if you've got non-ideal clients is you're making the mistake of using jargon or fluffy language to describe your work instead of using language that your clients that you're calling in actually understand and resonate with. So when your what I call bat signal is kind of there's turbulence or dissonance or terms that people don't understand, there's no magnetism. Like it's like you're kind of putting interference out there instead of your magnetism, right? So one of the very, very easy ways to do this is to go and grab my rave reviews, instant download. I think it's $49 US, and it steps you through exactly how to get raving rave reviews from ideal clients by actually baking them into your processes. Because if you're anything like most of my clients and also me, to be honest, if we leave asking for testimonials to ourselves, often fear, doubt, or I can't even be bothered doing that now. So any sort of resistance comes up and plays out this pattern of like, oh, I don't want to bother. So that's why I actually say bake them into your processes as quick as you can. And that download actually includes every single question that I would recommend that you ask. And they're designed so that instead of actually having to make up a way of speaking about you and your offer and how it feels to be undergoing that transformation, the client is actually speaking for you. So you don't have to figure out the language that your clients understand and resonate with because your clients are actually telling you. It's like one of my secret little squirrel things that I do with all clients. As I mentioned before, the other thing that could be happening is that you are dealing with chin up in your copy and content. So you're dealing with facts, figures, features, instead of harnessing storytelling to literally paint a vision of the reality of your clients' hearts, souls, and everyday reality right now, and what will open up for them as a result of this offer. And again, I gave a very, very quick, down and dirty example then of opening my office door this morning, but that is a very good example of the difference between my offer is 3 sessions versus I know what it feels like to be in this place and painting the picture of where they are now, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what do they feel limited by? What are they saying about themselves? What are they believing to be true? What do they believe are their biggest barriers? What do they actually need to set themselves free? What do they think they need to set themselves free? All of these things. And the other thing that I talked to this client about from my notes here is if you've got non-ideal clients coming into your business ecosystem, I would almost guarantee that you don't have what I like to call like 1,000,000% fuck yes conviction around the offer that you've actually attracted non-ideal clients for. And what happens with that is if you don't have complete conviction, like, oh my God, this is the best thing freaking ever. And I don't mean hype. I mean grounded conviction in what you're offering, what the transformation is, what the value of the transformation is. You've got, client testimonials. And if you don't have that, you've interviewed people that would be ideal fit for this. And you've actually really pulled out their wants, needs, and desires. And if you haven't done that and you've got no conviction, you're not sharing loud and proud about this offer. And that half-assed or doubting vibe impacts who is coming in. So if we want to go completely woo, you're putting out one frequency, which is, I don't know about this offer and it's a bit murky and whatever. And you're actually going to be attracting people that are attracted to unclear offers. And often those people are pretty tricky to work with because they are also extremely unclear and they're often looking for you to fix something for them. And that is not your role. That is the old hierarchy of the coaching industry. And we're not here for this. We are here to stay inside of our own ethical, moral, human responsibility to be inside of our education, inside of our if there was a code of ethics for coaching, please God, there will be one day. And so education, evidence, and ethics. So there's 3 E's that keep on coming to me when, the the water gets very muddied when we step outside of those. And this comes back to the just because I can doesn't mean you should. So what is your real genius zone? What is it that you shine at? You can do as naturally as breathing. You probably don't have any value put on it because that's the majority of people that I work with. They're not actually noticing their natural gifts. And they're not noticing that other people can't access things as easily as they can in this genius zone. And so what happens is you're downplaying your gifts and diluting your strengths and not sharing with conviction. Meanwhile, the people who don't necessarily have the substance behind their offers or are artificially raising, the in inverted commas value of their offers so that they can charge people, $20,000 plus for high touch masterminds that end up being like, 5 minutes of hot seat coaching if you're lucky once a month. And don't even get me started about that. So instead of actually those people being the loudest, most confident, most magnetic voices in the marketplace, we need to break the back of this, people. We need to get you paradigm shifters, you magicians, you witches, you woo-woo folks, you out of the box paradigm shifting people that are creating new pathways for people. We need to simplify, clarify, and amplify your voices so you can create the impact and, yes, the influence and the income that you desire. Because you are actually delivering on what you say you are operating inside of your scope, you are crystal clear with your ethical and moral responsibility to other humans, and you are operating with the beauty and the intention. And the word that's coming to me is the innocence. I don't know. I feel like innocence it's almost like a negative kind of connotation, but I mean the pureness of intent that you actually truly want to make a contribution and help. And when all of that is clean and clear, when you understand your genius, when you understand your transformation, when you understand the art of storytelling, you can get the fuck on with creating the new paradigms and creating businesses where you are deeply nourished and your clients are. There's no one of us wins and one of us doesn't. There's no one of us has power and one of us doesn't. There's no hierarchy of like the lovers who are, drinking the Kool-Aid for the big figure coaches and the people that are labeled the haters because they're questioning the actual value. So I guess we could also call this Kylie on her soapbox, but really in conclusion, in summary, there's an invitation for all of us. So if you have also been raging against the machine, and particularly about what is going on in the world with people being stripped of rights, we cannot be part of a coaching industry that does the same thing and not call the behavior out and not expect better from ourselves and better from each other. So I hope that you will join me for Magnetic. It is coming up later in March. I haven't even created the sales page yet at the time of recording of this, but that's my next job. Come and join me and learn how to really, really anchor into who you are, what you stand for, what you stand against, and the actual genius zone that you have to bring to the world. And then later on in March, I will be opening the doors to something extremely special and not grossly overinflated in value that will actually help you to understand how to harness all of those things through the art of storytelling and convert them into the most magnetic and most irresistible to your ideal clients. Fuck yes, product suites. Fuck yes, offers. Fuck yes, sales pages. Amazing, easy, flowing messaging on social media or whatever visibility channels you have. So from me to you, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to channel my rage into something useful. And I just wish you so much heart and so much love. And my Oh, my wish for you is that you only ever find yourself in places and spaces that help you amplify your own answers, connect to your own wisdom, and get out there and deliver your freaking magic to the world. And I mean, deliver in a big way. Spray that glitter freaking everywhere. All right. So much love. Until next time. There you go, beautiful one. Another delicious, juicy, truth-talking episode with a disruptor rebel or revolutionary sharing the identity shifts and the mess and the magic of leading right on the edge of your expansion and going first as a visionary leader, as a woman creating a business and inviting people to completely new ways of learning, living, loving, and leading. It is not lost on me that you have invested your time and your energy in listening to the show. I am so grateful for your beautiful heart, for the work that you do in the world. And I know that if you're here, you are more than likely one of what I call the Mad Hatters. So the quirky, colourful, creative, out of the box, often neurosparkly, paradigm shifters and thought leaders. So I'm so grateful that you're here. If you loved this episode, which I'm sure you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone else who needs to understand that their quirkiness and their full unapologetic self-expression is more than enough and in fact is the secret sauce to growing a wildly successful, abundant, nourishing, sustainable business. So here is to us, the Mad Hatters, the crazy out-of-the-box people saying no to old paradigms and inviting into the new. And if you'd love to go the extra mile, please make sure that you subscribe on the platform that you're on so you never miss an episode. And hey, it would be sweet, sweet, sweet if you would leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us and it helps us get this truth talk and this magic and this power out to even more Mad Hatters. So have a beautiful day and I will speak with you next week.